Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com and I'm going to kibitz a game that's going on right now between Kingzilla and Jacobiano, I guess. So it looks like we have a Benoni structure. Black is trying to get in this b5 advance, but it seems like it's a long way off. Piece-wise, we're balanced, and this pawn is falling. Is it not? What's wrong with grabbing on c4? So the idea here, I'm just going to watch the remainder of this game, and hopefully they'll play one more. And I'm a bit confused. Why is c4 not being taken? I guess that was just an oversight. So, okay, what is the plan here? I believe black. This rook is a bit misplaced. This is something that would be glaring at me right now. King h2 to defend h3. It seems like the rook is needed to come back, but it's not without maybe a potential knight b3 idea. Now, I think knight jumping into this square soon could be a good idea, or just really moving this knight in some way, maybe pivoting about on d7. This is a very common idea in this structure, to have this knight move just to release this bishop, give it potential. Right now f2 is hit, bishop f4 defends, but is also striking at d6, and only at this point is c4 falling. So black now up a piece and now pushing white around. I guess the bishop just has to come all the way home, and very uncoordinated now is white. There's got to be something really good. These dark squares are crumbling. Takes right here, followed up with the ventral, I guess, bishop e5. Pinpointing g3, I think, is just a killer continuation. For a second, I thought rook e2 was available, but this rook is defended by the knight. White is just, I guess, trying to hang on to this g3 point. I just really like... I don't know about the queen move, but okay. Piling up on g3 is probably just going to end white very soon. The rook is providing lateral defense. I guess knight f2 is available, but it's just a one-move threat. And no, that's actually more than a one-move threat. Knight f2 would have been very good, hitting the queen and the knight. White should have been losing a piece right there, but okay, we have the offer of a queen exchange, and now is white going to try and generate some play against the b pawn? This knight is unprotected as soon as that rook, if it moved to b3, but now we just have a series of exchanges. These pawns are on light squares, 2-to-1 majority on the king side time situation, less than a minute for white. White is up a pawn, or excuse me, black is up a pawn, and ahead on time. Can't take here, connected pass pawns. And, well, might we have a repetition, because otherwise this king sneaks up here and gets this pawn. Should black try something else? What about bishop here? Bishop e3 would have been better to box out that king, maybe. Oh no, but then it allowed knight c3. Interesting conclusion right there. Wow, I was not expecting that. I thought maybe just still keeping the queens on the board would have been a little bit better. And are these guys going to play one more? Do I have to tell them to play one more? Okay, I'm not going to wait around for these guys. Let's go into another one. Hopefully these guys are going to play out the remainder of this game, and then one more. So knight's pinned. White has to take here, otherwise there's something going on. Knight takes bishop, or that move, which I don't like really, because it opens this f-file and is now starting to potentially work well with this bishop. I don't know if you could really break down this structure here, but I see this f-file as being very good for white, and I guess this knight is looking for this outpost square on e5. So we have this f-file, and this structure right here, I view it as a nice home for a king, and I see that keeping the white queen on the board would be a very good idea. Maybe just e5 right here. I don't know if there's really a way for this queen to stir up some trouble on c7, but again, regarding this structure, each pawn here provides a safeguard for that white king along a rank, a diagonal, and a file against potential queen checks. So this is a little bit bizarre. This is weakening e6. Okay, it's you don't have to watch over the f7 square anymore, but right now e6 is coming under fire. White is putting pressure on e6. Black is tethered to it right now. And how to make progress? Is rook a3, b3, b6 available? or is it just the doubling of the rooks? I don't know how much more white could be applying pressure to black. And now this knight is a really strong piece. Okay, so now we're going to have a structural change, but okay, this rook gets this b file. The white rook gets a lot of play, hitting at c5 and a6. I think coming back over in this direction, that's what white is deciding on here. But a tactical shot right here, nice. Knight takes d3, and I believe the tables are now turning. So rook takes b, one pig on the second right here. We're still needing, I think, a better flight square maybe for that black king with h6. I think the king would much rather have h7 available. But okay, e5, a nice pawn chain. This guy is an extra. We could see this d pawn in just a blink become passed with a c4 advance. I would not be surprised if we're seeing that. There is some pressure though, because white is just a moment away from getting a rook on this square as well. And now a miscalculation, or was this an on purpose, or what's the story here? Okay, so we do have this c4 advance. A number one priority for both sides with both rooks still on the board is to not allow two rooks on the second, and I believe black can get this in. Rook d2 defends the pawn and paves the way for rook to b2. But if rook to a7, there is no rook b2 because white would be mating black, and that's what we have. So there is no piling up here just yet. Clock situation less than 40 for white. Check, king h2. Pawn push, the rook could maybe play here, but I think rook here will allow rook to b1. Rook b1, now there's no mate threat. This king could sneak out over here, and black would be threatening mate, but we're not having that either. What is the story? This is most likely going to come down to a rat race here. 22 seconds for white. There once again is no time to take this pawn. I like this g4 idea, just expanding, maybe starting to sneak this king up to h6. But does white have the time to do it? I do not know. So now this pawn is dead. I think white does well to get back on this 7th rank. Okay, here we go. Cutting off this king. White has a better king position, but way down on time. Okay, pigs. Pigs on the 7th. A bunch of checks. This is at least a draw. If white wants a draw, it's going to be a draw. Mate threat. The king has to come over here. And it's not going over there. This is game over. Okay. Okay, hopefully they play one more. Play one more, guys. Are you guys going to play one more? Play one more. Are they jibber-jabbering or what? Do I have to dive into another game? Okay, let me try another game then. These guys are just officially not wanting to play again. Alright, let's close out of that. Let's close out of that. These guys? No, that's a 1-minute game. These guys. All right, two 2300 players. So Arceus and Hypa-B. All right, so what did we have here? What is this opening? You can't see it right now, but I'm scrolling. Okay, this is a Caro-Kann. It went e4, c6, d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, and then that knight d7 line with knight g to f6 to follow. So, okay. What are the features of this position? What is going on? The first thing that jumps to mind for me, I'm looking at this structure, 3 versus 2. As an endgame approaches, this starts to become more and more important. But for right now, black has this bishop. He's a problem. That needs to be solved. So how to get this guy working? Black still needing the castle. I doubt that there's a better square than just coming back to c3 unless you play to d4. Why not go to d4? The more aggressive, hitting the queen. Okay, so how to complete development. Bishop e3 to defend the knight and then get the queen out. Rook f to d1. I like keeping this a rook right where it's at. There might be possibilities for a clamping down move with a5. So if there's a rook to move to d1 or e1, I would much rather have it be the f rook. And now a tactical shot. You could see just by my train of thought right there how I was thinking more positionally instead of tactically. By default, that's how I view the position. So I was looking at that a5 move. I was looking to complete my development. But certainly there's a problem right now on this square. And the bishop, well, it had to pretty much grab another pawn there. Taking the knight with check is met with queen takes and defends the bishop. So what's the continuation after king takes? Okay, so we have a piece, minor piece for 2 pawns right here. I don't know. Unless there's something right away, I don't think there's going to be anything at all. Okay, because there's not, this rook is no longer inconvenienced. Black did well to get this rook on e8 so that the king could sneak back. Black has officially castled artificially and can't really get on this diagonal. Okay, pressure on this knight makes it a bit uncomfortable to get this bishop out along this classic diagonal. However, this knight can still move and maybe put pressure on this f5 knight, and this is going to be very difficult. The queen is very active in the center. Okay, black is in a check, but the queen is doing a ton, hitting both minor pieces as well as the b2 pawn, but these two right here are the most pressing issue. There's not, as far as I could tell, gonna be compensation. White down material and now having to make a very committal move, g4, just to defend the knight. And well, what do you do here? Is there a knockout here? Okay, knight b6. This knight is dead now, and I guess that's gonna be it, right? Bishop takes knight. It defends against the mate threat here, and you could always do that move and threaten mate on h2. There it is, the deadly h2 move, and I think black could be persistent. Queen e2 is their way to successfully defend against h2. I guess the queen would then have to come back, and that could be maybe a little bit of an uncomfortable pin. What's the knockout here? There could be queen checks as well. Okay, queen check right here. The queens are off, and it's game over. This would be my move right here, or we have maybe something that's just even more accurate. Throwing a rook on the second, hitting at h2, and that is game over. So please, are these guys going to play one more? You know what? Have they been playing one more? There we go. I thought for a second that I would be needing to follow somebody in order to watch one more. So that's not the case. So let's see a game here from the start. These are 3-minute games. d4, okay, we're going to have either a Grunfeld or King's Indian. Grunfeld, no, King's Indian, black says, with bishop g7. e4, hyper-modern opening. White has this center built. Black will be striking at it. c5 or e5 soon enough, most likely e5. Well, I guess it's most popular. Castle, knight c6. So far, so booked. d5, okay, center is closed. Play will ensue on the wings. Black's idea, get in f5. White's idea, try and get in c5. I thought we might see a bayonet attack. Okay, so the knight being placed on d3 facilitates 2 pawn break possibilities for not only c5, but maybe even f4. That would be a very aggressive move, but we're having clearly the lines drawn at this point. Black is coming at the white king, and white's going to try to stir up some trouble on the queen side. So rook c1 is purposeful. The bishop, I guess, is coming around in this direction, trying to get on this diagonal. I like rook c1 right away. So I guess the idea now is rook c1, knight b5, hitting at both a7 and looking to leap into that c7 square. Keep in mind, this is a number one aggressive piece, I believe, for black is this bishop. Possibilities for just smashing open that white king side. If there's ever an h3 move, I think white does well to just avoid any pawn advance. And now I'm starting to see a reason for this bishop move, maybe just tucking itself back to g2, and this just seems a bit too slow on the white end. It seems like this knight should have been on b5 a lot sooner. But what is the purpose of b3? Was this a mouse slip? Was really b4 intended? And now the position is really opening up quickly on the king side. And, oh man. Okay, so a pawn sacrifice just to open lines. White is in some serious trouble. Black has clearly come first. All these pieces are really well coordinated. Pick your favorite piece to jump into f4. It's going to be problematic, and especially when you see moves like rook f1 to e1 going from one closed file to another, you know something has, without a doubt, gone way, way wrong. So I'm just not going to have much confidence in white pulling this one off right here. Even though down a pawn, this knight could jump in here. If bishop takes, pawn takes, queen h4 ideas with mate on h2, this is big, big trouble, and too many, I guess, just non-aggressive moves maybe on the white end. I'm not seeing any hope. 1 minute 30 for white, 2 minutes for black. What is black? What's the knockout? Queen here seems like it's very annoying. Okay, so something has to be done with this. Do you back up? That you allow knight check? There's got to be some mate right here. Okay, so that guy's dead, but it's just replaced with another knight. This guy's out of play. This rook is not doing a whole lot. Okay, so removing a defender and allowing the rook to have some lateral support for g2. If there's ever a g3 move, g4, is that going to be available? So, okay, this queen is extremely active. And now we're going to have more exchanges. The knight coming in. If this is, I mean, if white could simplify this position, okay, I'm seeing maybe some defensive possibilities, but okay. This pawn push coming soon. Bishop takes, rook takes, and now pawn push. There's a problem on g1. h3 is a good idea. Pawn takes leads to mate. And is there going to be a way to defend now? Queen exchange. Okay, offering an exchange. If you're the side that's trying to defend, exchange pieces. That's what we have here. This bishop can actually act as a very good defender. And, okay, or even a rook, which is allowing for even more exchanges. So white, I think, is coming off here with a successful defense. There's no more tricky knights right here around the white king, and I think this is now going to be defendable. Black, okay, still needing to get this bishop out and rook out, but okay, now might the tables turn, and we see that the black king is maybe now having to run a little bit. Rook takes, rook c7, and maybe getting the queen out to g2. Okay, this bishop is a very good defender of the king side, but I think it's kind of just only a defender alone. It's a bad bishop. That's another way you could view it. If an endgame comes about, even if black is still down that pawn, it has the better bishop. And maybe one day this guy could get these pawns right here, but I think that is still a long way off. But in the meantime, we're having more exchanges. If rook takes bishop, rook check, the bishop can just block. I think that was just missed. Bishop e2, unless there's a perpetual, black is going to be lost here. So let's see if there's going to be a perpetual. King f1. King f1, is there a way to sneak this queen around and get the queens off? White has to be a little bit careful. As soon as the queen leaves this first rank, there could be a check, and actually forget about it. The rook could still play there. The queen is defending against c1. The bishop backs up. And is there a way to put more pressure on this bishop? Very interesting game. 20 seconds remaining for black to figure it out. I thought white was dead meat very early on, but not the case. An interesting way to defend, just exchanging a bunch of pieces right there on the king side. There had to have been, I really do feel, okay, there's a mate threat on g2. There had to have been some way to just knock out white, but I wasn't able to come up with it apparently. So you could throw in some checks, some time burners, grab a pawn, give a check. Still the same story here. Now the threat is rook c1, bishop block, queen takes pawn, and that'll be a killer. Uh-oh. Are we going to have... Where is it? Is there going to be a mate here? The bishop can't go back now. Where's the mate? There's got to be a perpetual, or no, the king is sneaking away. King here, queen check, king d3. Is there going to be a mate? Not seeing it. No, now just on the defensive. You can always play the rook c7 there. So there's not going to be anything. Okay, a rook trade. There's no problems here for white. This is going to be a win, I would think. 5.8 seconds, 13. Black is actually kicking into a higher gear now. Do they have a fast mouse? Time is catching up. Black is pre-moving very well. Queen f4. Time burners, checks. 4.9 seconds for black. 7 seconds. All right, let's see how this finishes up. Checks. Checks, checks, and more checks. 3.6. Another queen is going to be on the board. 2.9 seconds. The king is running away. Uh-oh. 3.1. No time for white. Is there going to be mate? There's a check. There's mate in 1 or 2. Black won. Oh, man. Oh, man. What a roller coaster game that one was. Okay, I'm going to stop there. These guys are still going to go at it, but I have to stop somewhere, and this is where I am stopping. So, okay, that's all for this video. As always, I hope you got something out of it. Take care.